Good morning guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for returning. I hope you're all having a great day. This morning I'm going to be talking about gym essentials. What kind of things do you need equipment wise for the gym to enhance your performance and when you should use them. Over the years of my training experience, which has been around about 14 years now, I've accumulated certain types of equipment to actually help me in the gym. They include belts, wraps, straps, lifting shoes, knee supports, and although some of you might be thinking to yourself, well, do I really need all of that stuff? The answer to that question is no, you don't need that stuff as a beginner. If you're starting out in the gym, there's only a few things that you really need. That is patience, consistency, and a will to learn and improve. It might be quite frustrating when you first start in the gym. You know, you see people lifting certain amounts of weight. You might not be the strongest guy in the gym. I am by far not the strongest guy in the gym, I tell you. My genetics have not gifted me with strength, unfortunately. However, if you're just starting out in the gym and you see people wearing wraps and belts and shoes and knee supports and God knows what, you don't need to start using them just yet. Your body needs to adapt to the weight training that you're going to be performing or the cardio that you're going to be performing. Whatever you're doing in the gym, your body needs to adapt to that first. So I would say, give yourself time. Give yourself time to understand the process of training and as well nutrition on the side of things before you start jumping and spending your money on unnecessary products that you don't need just yet. I would say give yourself around about 8 to 10 weeks to get into the gym, especially if you're lifting. So if you're bench pressing once a week, you're squatting once a week, you're deadlifting once a week, you're doing pull-ups once a week, and then you've got all your ancillary exercises such as calves, bis, tris, traps, that kind of thing. Give yourself 8 to 10 weeks of just training in your own skin, in your own body, before you start spending your money on the mod cons, as some people like to call them. Now, the first piece of equipment I'm going to show you is the belt. I've actually got two. These are both buckled belts with the buckle on like this. This one's a real thin one. It's a Gold's Gym. I've had it for absolutely years. It's battered and bruised, but it's very thin. You can see it's thin and it's also very, very flimsy. So it doesn't give you a lot of support. The other one I've got is by Just Lift, which those of you who know is Simian Panda. Again, buckled. It's a little bit thicker. It's got this nice pad, if you can see that there, on the back, so it's not as stretchy, alright? This is my go-to belt, okay? This black one here. This is the one that I started out with, alright? But I've just kept it for old time's sake. Now, with the belt, okay, I only use it for certain types of exercises, and those exercises, 3 of, is the squat, the deadlift, and an overhead standing military press. And the reason I use the belt for those 3 exercises is because when I get to a certain weight, i.e. if it's, let's say for the overhead press, if it's 70 kilos overhead, that's a lot for your core to deal with. For the squat, I won't touch that belt until I get to 110 kilos, 120 kilos. For the deadlift, I won't touch that belt till I'm hitting 130, 140. And the simple answer to as why I do that is because I want to let my core muscles, my stabilizer muscles, lower back included, okay? People get scared about when they feel their lower back on certain exercises. Your lower back is a building block and a core muscle that helps stabilize your entire body. So you want to put that under some sort of tension, under some sort of stress. So keep the belt away. Keep it away, let your body and your lower back and your core muscles get stronger first. Work up to a weight, then use the belt. Also with the belt, I like to have it relatively tight around my midsection. The reason that I opted for quite a sort of thin belt, so it's not actually, real chunky here, is because I don't like it riding up on my rib cage. You can get some belts that buckle across and like a ratchet strap across, but they're really, really thick. With that one, it doesn't ride up on my ribs. From my ribs to my waist, I'm not very elongated. Although I'm tall, I'm over 6 foot, I've got a very short abdomen. So when that belt comes up onto my rib cage, it tends to rub in quite a lot. So that's why I opt for a nice thin, subtle belt. So as I said before, 8 to 10 weeks, give your body some time to learn how to squat, get those core muscles firing on the deadlift. You know, use your overhead pressing and your pull-ups and your big dominant exercises that are gonna, you know, activate and increase your core stability. Get that out of the way first, then invest in a belt. I'll put the link to this belt that I've got in the description box below. Moving on just briefly to knee wraps. Now I opt for a wrap that unravels like this, okay? The same make as my belt, it's actually Simeon Panda's range. Really, really good, solid knee support. Again, I will only use these when I'm up to a certain level of weight. And that will probably be around about, again, 110 kilos, 120 kilos on the squat alone. These, I don't know why you'd want to use these on any other exercise apart from the squat. Some people use the neoprene sleeves that just kind of like slide up on your knees. I opt for these because you can actually adjust the tension around the kneecap. So you can actually make them tighter or looser depending on what you want to do with your squat. Lifting shoes. The best purchase I have ever made. These, I use these for about 2 years now. They're Adidas Adipowers, okay? They cost me £150 brand new. That's a lot of money. As a beginner, you don't really need these, but having some form of flat shoe when you're doing floor-based movements is ideal. You can take your shoes off. Just be aware that if you do take your shoes off, know why you're taking your shoes off, okay? I see people take their shoes off when they're doing bicep curls, all right? Know why you're taking your shoes off. Know why you're using a flat shoe to do floor-based exercises. So the only time I will really use these is, again, the squat, the deadlift, maybe a leg press, okay? Lunges, quad extensions, hamstring curls. You're not really using a planted force to dominate and lift the weight. So you don't really need to use these for that. But literally the best purchase I have ever made. As a beginner, as I say, you don't really need them. It's more of a nicety. If you've got the money there and you start really enjoying your squats and you've seen some great improvements and you've seen some real nice strength increases on a deadlift, if you're doing them once, twice a week, invest your money in these. If there's anything that I would say to buy, the belt, the knee wraps, the wraps and the wrist straps, which I'm about to show you, get these first. Spend your money wisely, guys. I will do a video on the benefits of these a bit more in depth another time, but for now, get yourself some lifting shoes. Lastly, we've got wrist straps and wrist wraps. Straps, like this, with a small loop in the end, and wrist wraps, which are on Velcro. Like this, okay, stretchy. Now I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've actually used these. If I'm honest, I don't really use them that much. You could get away with using them on a bench press or anything where your wrist and this part of your forearm is going to be performing at heavy weight. So anything pushing overhead, anything pushing away, pulling movements. No, I wouldn't use these at all. Remember, it's a nicety to have, okay? Again, what I was saying about the back belt, you want to let your muscles work and your wrists work in different directions, okay? You want to get those stronger. Using these will only help you push more weight, okay? So build yourself up, work the muscles around the wrist, okay? Get the muscles in there used to performing heavy, strenuous exercises. Then you can buy these as a nicety. If you want to use them for your bench press, if you want to add on a little 5 kilos, something like that, then use them. Also, sometimes, because I'm a big low bar squatter, which you've seen in a previous video, I sometimes use these when I'm low bar squatting. Because of the angle of the bar, it puts a lot of pressure on my wrists. So when I'm going really, really heavy, 130 plus, I will use these. Any other thing, it's a nicety to have in my eyes. So that's that. The wrist straps, on the other hand, okay, very good for the opposite side of things. So any pulling movements, because you're going to be using your grip strength again. And again, I am a firm believer of holding off a little while on these. Start doing your lat pull down, start doing your deadlifts, start doing your seated rows or your bent over rows, using all the muscles in your forearms and getting your grip fired up initially for those first few periods of training sessions if you're a beginner. If you're more of an intermediate or an advanced trainer, you can start using these a little bit more and then start ramping up the weight, because your grip will only help you naturally to a certain extent. These, again, they're a nicety to have, but they will enhance your performance because you will be able to put more weight on, okay? It's the same with the belt. It's the same with the knee wraps. It's the same with the wrist wraps and the wrist straps and the lifting shoes. They're all mod cons to help generate more strength and more power through a specific exercise. Now, the most expensive thing here, as I mentioned before, is going to be the lifting shoes. So get that out of the way first. If you're looking to invest in some mod cons, get the lifting shoes first. I'm sure you can go on eBay, you can pick up some for about 60, 70 pounds. Brand new, some Adidas ones, Nike do a good range, Reebok actually do a really good range of lifting shoe nowadays. The belt, the wrist wraps, the wrist straps, the knee supports, you can sort of hold off on them a little bit until you've got a base level of understanding and knowledge about the way in which your body works and the kind of strength levels that you're at. So remember guys, I said it before, when you do invest in these little bits and bobs, try to hold back from using them all the time. Don't let your body depend on them. That was the best piece of advice I could give somebody when I was strength and conditioning coaching. Don't rely on the mod cons. Don't rely on the little knick-knack things, okay? Rely on your body, all right, to perform the movement. It's nice to have a belt. It's nice to have knee wraps. It's nice to have wrist straps, okay? But they will only get you to so far, all right? And if you're going to be using those things, hold off, all right? Get to a certain weight where you feel, where you actually get scared to get under that bar, right? When I'm squatting, when I've got a certain weight, and that's, for me, it's 130 kilos. That's not a big squat, but before I go under the squat, I'm nervous. My heart rate is going up before I'm even under the bar, but I'm excited. And some people will think that's sadistic, but I love it. And for me, if I'm hitting 130s or above, I have to be wearing my lifting shoes. I have to be wearing my belt. I have to be wearing my knee supports. That, it just gives you a little level of safety and security at the same time. So I am relying on those products to help me lift that weight, but only that weight. Anything under, I'm raw. I'm not wearing anything apart from my lifting shoes. I have got a raw squat, and it's good to keep it raw for as long as possible. So I hope you're all still with me. I know it's just a bit of a brief chat on, my experiences with, buying the mod cons and stuff. I hope you've gained some knowledge out of this small clip for you today. And as I say to you, I'll try and link everything that I've bought in the description box below so you can have a look at it. And as I say, the shoes are going to be the most expensive, and then the belt, the knee wraps, the wrist straps are going to be a little bit cheaper than getting the shoes. So shoes first, everything else afterwards. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate the support that I've got from my last couple of videos on the skiing vlogs. I'm going to continue to make these short informational videos. As I say, the next video I'm going to make will be on the lifting shoes, so stay tuned for that. Thank you again for watching. Like and subscribe if you've gained some knowledge from this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.